Hello, everybody. I haven't been that well today, but I'm getting better. So if there's any Biden moments, you'll understand that I've gone doolally. But I'm okay. Yeah, I feel better. I was absolutely shivering, and the nurses were here and all that stuff. But I'm all right now. I think. Getting there. Anyhow. So, welcome, delboy. Thank you for coming on again.
Hey,
I
no,
always
no.
enjoy this, even when I'm not feeling well. I've really looked forward to it. I didn't want to cancel this, especially as we changed it as well. And also, I'd just like to say James of Jim Jam is going to come on a bit later as well. So, we've got a guest, our first guest. Okay, so as we normally say, what have you been watching?
Well, first of all, hello, because I ain't had bloody chance to say hello yet. If I can bloody make you laugh, I will. Bloody hell, what an introduction.
Yeah,
No, get well soon, matey. I'm in
yeah,
exactly the same boat. Tuesday might as well have been Wednesday. I've just woke up. I've not been
yeah,
well. I've got a bag of sweets to munch on. That's all I've had all day because I've been asleep. I've just checked my mum. She's okay.
Oh, that's
But hello
good.
to everybody. And you're bound to say, "What have I been watching?" So let me
Yeah.
let me just turn the background off for a minute. It's still quite black, so that's okay.
Well, if I keep blowing my nose, you'll know why.
That's all right.
I got
So
a,
most of the stuff's in my blog. I mean, literally my blog's Sunday. Today's Tuesday. So what did I watch yesterday? But I mean,
yeah,
not a lot. But just a couple of things that I put up in my blog. There was Back to Black. That's pretty good. Like that.
yeah.
Crimson Peak came in a lovely box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
That
was
looks good.
great. Who hasn't seen Forrest Gump?
Yeah, a long
Um,
time ago, but I have seen it.
yeah. There's this lovely film, Marathon Man.
Yeah, again,
That's
another one I saw
such a
at cinema.
classic. And the one that I probably got the most enjoyment out of, which is Robin and Marion,
Yeah, fantastic.
which is a true sort of like little classic if you've never seen it. And last night I watched a film I haven't seen in ages called 8 Million Ways to Die with
Great title.
Jeff Bridges and Rosanna Arquette.
Oh,
And
wow.
apparently it was written by Oliver Stone. I checked and I only had it on DVD. And when I went to look to see for Blu-ray of it, it was never released in this country. In fact, you can only get it in America and certain areas of Europe. Now, I checked around, and although the European ones could be bootleg, it appears that they're not bootleg. They are actual editions. So I've got that coming. I watched
Right.
it on telly, you see, last night. It was on Legends. And thought, oh, this is quite a good film. I'm really enjoying this. That's when I found out it was written by Oliver Stone. So
Oh, wow. Yeah.
um like literally it's a mid to late 80s film. And it's aged probably that's why because of with Rosanna Arquette, really. That's what ages it. I mean, she's hardly anything, is she, anymore? So this was at a time where I think she was making films, and it weren't that long afterwards she wasn't. So yeah, that's really my sort of like watching.
Mm.
I can put the background thing on now, so I can spend 10 minutes now listening to your what.
Yeah. Well, it might not be as long this week. But, so what have I watched? I've got a few things here. I'll start with this one because I really enjoyed this again. It's The Earth Dies Screaming.
Oh
What
yeah,
a film! What a film this is. Um, it's low budget, and I think it was done in 3 weeks. And the title doesn't seem to match what's going on, but they did that. It was an American thing where the American producer would come over and do his thing and then put it out. But I enjoyed this. It might be a bit creaky in places, but it's enjoyable.
who's the director? Just out of interest, is it Corman?
No,
Oh,
it's what's his name? Is uh, Lippert. Lippert, that's his name.
Okay.
His production company was involved in this. Yeah, and for me, of course, the important thing was he was directed by Terence Fisher, who I absolutely think is a totally underrated director. All those Hammer films he did, wow. And he did this. He did films like this, that just give him a low budget one, and he'd do the best he can. So that's
some people forget. You see that although Roger Corman made a lot of films, he sort of actually encouraged an awful lot of directors. I mean, it's where Joe Dante started. So that's why I mentioned, who was the director of that? And if it weren't Corman, was he involved? Because he used to do things on a spin of a coin, a couple of days. So.
He wasn't involved in this, but it was an American that came over.
Yeah. Similar turnaround.
It as well.
Similar turnaround, so that's great.
I mean, 3 weeks, that's it. They had to be done in 3 weeks. It was all very organized. So that's that one. And then this, when you sometimes go back to a film and think, oh, crikey, this is not as good as I thought it was. I used to think it was quite good. And it is Hellraiser. I've actually got a steel book here as well. Hellraiser. I think it's because I've watched a lot of horror films and they are so much better than Hellraiser. I don't really like it that much. I'm surprised because I used to think, oh yeah, Hellraiser, it's all right. I don't like all this sadomasochistic stuff. I know it sounds but it was disappointing because I thought I would like it more, and I've come back to it and thought, well, I can understand this isn't everybody's cup of tea, and it's funny because I never mention it in horror films that I like. Hellraiser is never one that I've talked about or mentioned, and I think I just didn't really get on with it. It's got 3 discs, 3 films in, and pretty bad. And then I've got another Blu-ray with some more Hellraiser films. And no, I didn't even bother watching them. You see, I couldn't have any fun with them. Like, there's some things like the Children of the Corn series. I can have a lot of fun with them. They may not be the best films, but there's a nice lot of good films, some better than others. But I really enjoy that series of films. But this, I can't see that happening.
If you want my opinion of it, it's a difficult one to put your mind back. I mean, I remember when that came out and was shocked.
Yeah.
And then came away thinking, oh, this isn't actually too bad. I've obviously got the big, was it an Arrow release that came out?
Arrow, it is, yeah. They've done one recently, I think, haven't they? Another one.
Yeah, like I said, it literally was months ago, and it was a deluxe set.
Yeah.
And everybody was turning around and saying, oh, no. And I was going, yeah, but you've got to put your mind back. Really, that was such a shock. It was a H.P. Lovecraftian type film. Lots and lots of weird images. There was this puzzle thing to it.
Yeah, that's quite nice. The puzzle thing.
Yeah, there was this maze. There was getting some skin back, which isn't exactly new. And everybody wanted to know who the background of this new character was, with loads of nails or something in his head, which we found out again was called Pinhead. The second one answered a lot of the questions, and I hoped personally myself that the second one would be the end of it.
It wasn't. It's done a lot.
The second one sort of was more in that world, where it was all and so forth. But no, then they had to make another one in a disco. So it got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
my point of view. But then so many people love it, and I
do.
So when I looked back at the first one about must be 4 months ago, I did get that with that. Oh yeah, I remember this. feel about it. And I came away at the end of the first one going, it hasn't aged well, but it's not as bad as what I thought it might be. And then every one after that was as bad as I remembered it was.
Yeah.
And
I kind of hoped for more from it because I had not seen it for years and years. And I thought, oh, it might be better. But I was just disappointed in it. I just felt.
yeah, and I think a lot of people
flat.
probably did. That's why I don't think it sold that well when it
Yeah.
was released in that box set. I think that box set was still around actually.
Yeah.
Quite a while afterwards, and they were even reducing the price.
Yeah.
All sorts of, and it was a lovely box set. Don't get me wrong; it opened up this way and that way, and there was you opened this up, and you could see the writing because the cellophane was a sort of reddish color, so you only saw it when you lifted it up. No,
Yeah.
there was holes in the boxes, you know, that were specifically done that way. So you know, but again, it's supposed to be about the films, not the box set, not the not the packaging. So and then you watch the first one, and it's exactly like I said. The first one you get away with it. The second and third, no,
it just gets worse. I just didn't like it. This, you know, I've seen horror films with skin being ripped off and that, but this didn't. I don't know. I just didn't like it. The sadomasochistic elements in it. You know, I just didn't like it.
Like I said, other films have got that sort of in it, and you'd probably turn around and go, "I liked it."
Yeah, there will be people who like it. Yeah,
it's all to do with how gratuitous it is and how it moves the plot. The puzzle doesn't tell the tale of why he's trying to, or like you say, the sadomasochism part. It just explains. Really, that what these people want your souls, doesn't go into why you want anything else. No, it's
so you're right. Yeah,
agree. Really,
yeah. So. It was disappointing. So one more film I've watched was the Axel Foley one, and you know what? I read quite a few negative reviews of it. I shouldn't really have. You know, I shouldn't have listened to them because I enjoyed it. You know, okay, it might be not the heights of the you know, the originals, but I think it was well done. I quite enjoyed it. You know, I thought the performances were good. I liked his relationship with his daughter. There was just some good, nice things in it, and I thought it worked well. But there was a lot of people obviously saying, "Oh no, this and that," but. I enjoyed it. Have you seen it?
Oh, I was gonna, like I said, it would have been sort of something I'd have watched tonight, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I told you on, I think on Sunday, I said it was one that I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it Sunday when it only leaves you Monday, and I fell asleep.
Yeah, that's
like I did today. So that's
I'll be interested to see what you think of it. You know,
what I do know is that I mean, this morning when I woke up, there was on my YouTube, you know, another channel that had just who's just turned around and said that the license, even though it's under Netflix, means that it's actually going to come out as a physical media release.
Oh, that's good.
And that's good when you consider that all the others have now been released in the last year.
Yeah, they have.
4K, so that means that it means that you can complete your box sets. You can have your shelf without a gap and all of that sort of stuff. I'm bound sure to get it because, to be quite honest, I liked the first two immensely. The third one,
and
like I say, I'll know whether I'll like this one or not.
I think I went in with low expectations with this, and so that's good. If you go in with low expectations, you suddenly think, "Well, actually, I'm quite enjoying this." You know,
the more
that's good. You know,
the more they space these comedies apart, and I've said this before, comedy is dead by Hollywood. There's very little that's coming out comedy wise that you can basically turn around and say, "Wow, that's a classic." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The more that they space them apart, the more it's harder for me to actually get into the groove of comedies coming out all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, the last time a comedy came out, and it weren't that far ago, and it wasn't that brilliant either, it was probably Ghostbusters, and you can't consider can't consider that a comedy. And then you're sort of like going back to Eddie Murphy again with
Yeah,
Coming to America too or something. I mean, it's
yeah,
that. This is how intermittent
yeah,
and long the gaps are between comedies. You see,
yeah,
so my comedies now are made up of stuff that's on TV.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. TV comedy is the best, I think, in many ways now. Um,
Yeah.
so what else? I think that's all the films really. I would have probably watched a bit more, but the music I've done a review of, and yeah, get ready.
Oh, there we
I've
go.
done
Bloody
Meatloaf.
hell.
I love
So
this
I'll sit over in
album.
this corner. I'll sit over in this corner. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love this album. And also, I'd just like to say that the last week I was really pleased. I did David Sylvian and Robert Fripp, and it did really well. Oh, I think it's about 300 and odd views. So there is hope with that, which I was really pleased with. This one, he's a controversial figure, but I really enjoy it. I accept what it is. I remember him in Old Grey Whistle Test performing this, and he was great. You know, he's not everybody's cup of tea. I accept that, but because he's an actor, isn't he, as well? But I enjoyed this album. I think it's just a good, fun album, and I think that's it, really. So let's get through the comments.
What I was going to say about Meatloaf, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of people now have seen the documentaries. How his first couple of albums were written, sort of co-written, and the falling out that they had or something.
yeah, there was Steinman.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
quite a business with
And
that. What it is, he wanted more equal billing. He wanted proper
he's
billing.
still around. He's still around, basically now,
Yeah,
even though Meatloaf's not.
yeah.
Meatloaf always to me came across as a nice guy, and he
It,
sounds so
it was,
different when
yeah.
he's singing.
And
And of course,
Steinman isn't.
I've seen him, in Rocky
Yeah.
Horror Picture Show, and I've seen him in
Yeah.
Fight Club, and a number of things. And he was a multifaceted man. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, he was.
And
He
a
was
great
good.
point,
I quite like. I liked him. Yeah, definitely. I think he did a lot of good things. So let's start. Yeah. Let's go right to the beginning. There we are. Jim Jam Movies is.
Was he in?
No, he's not come on yet, but he's made a comment. I think at the beginning. Says, "Hi, mate. Yeah. I say hopefully he'll be coming on. I've sent him link. He has to come on.
I know where he can go. He can go down here somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right at the bottom somewhere.
Stephen Moles says, "Hi guys, watched a good film on Tubi last night called Funhouse Massacre. It was great." That's how. Yeah,
I think he meant he could have been Tubi. Isn't Tubi that new streaming thing? I thought that was a good film on Tube. You know what I mean? Like TV, Tube. Like
I think it is a
Tube.
Tubi. Yeah. Oh dear. Right.
There is a new streaming service, and it costs now. You just have to register.
Yeah. I dread to think of all this costs. And then Steve Mills, where are thou, Ian and Delboy? Oh, we're here. I know we're a bit late, but we're here. We're here.
Sounds like Odin from God of Thunder. Where thou art, God of Thunder.
And then Jim says, "Evening."
Jim.
Good evening. Yeah, hello.
Now, if this had have been the children's thing, we'd all be going, "Where's Rosie? Rosie and Jim.
Mike. Oh yeah,
Rosie and Jim. What's all that about?"
Hey, Mike. Oh yeah. Yes, I won't talk about Rosie and Jim. My son, I watched that as a toddler, Rosie and Jim, and and my wife liked it. He says, "I picked up Doctor Who Mannequin Mania, Spearhead from Space,
makes
Terror
sense.
of the Autumns, 2 DVD box set for £1 today. I think you did well there. mint condition.
It makes sense when you read it. You know, it's called Mannequin Mania, and it contains 2
Yeah,
episodes which are
that's
about the
right.
autumn.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
yeah.
Although, to be quite honest, I was never scared of the mannequins, but that chair eating up that bloke.
Oh, the chair is good. I like the
When I was a
chair.
kid, I thought that was scary.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was good. Oh, right. Stephen Moles, we interrupt this live stream for a special news bulletin. Ian and delboy have been kidnapped. The kidnappers want a box of jammy Dodgers and a big jar of coffee. Well, yeah, jammy Dodgers.
That's why we're late. I mean, they're rumming and ahhing for bloody ages, and at the end, it was like, actually, should I give up my prize jammy Dodgers because I think my jammy Dodgers are worth more. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, really. I'd be umming and ahhing over giving up a box of jammy Dodgers. For me, I can tell you.
Right. Let's see what we got here. Steve's Gaming. Hi guys. Shame you had to change days for shitty football, but still, this will be good. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just weird.
You know my salute to this bastard, don't you? Oh,
yeah.
No, Steve. Well, I'm so glad he's here. I've got a bit of company to sort of like keep me company anyway, because all of these people, I love them to death. I don't recognize quite the names yet. You know what I mean? I'm still getting people. So hello to everyone, really.
And then we've got Jim again. France just scored 8 minutes. Oh yes, that'll be interesting. We'll probably end up. We'll see. Yeah, with them. And we might not get through anyhow. So I'm being a bit. Steve's going, I don't care. Well, yeah, I think we know that.
Yeah.
Jim, yes, he's smiling there.
Yeah, we're going to have lots of hellos, I think.
Yeah. And then big screen, small screen reviews. Hi, Guy. Hello. Welcome to our live chat. And Jim says, hello, peeps. And then Steve Moll says, great. Get plenty of soup down your Ian. All right. Yeah.
Mum always said feed a cold, but I don't know if yours is a cold.
Chicken soup. It's always get that chicken soup down you. I don't know if there's any scientific thing on that, whether chicken soup is better. I don't know. There might be. I don't know.
I've no idea.
Wives' tales.
just feed a cold. That's all I know.
Yeah, I do like soups anyhow. So yeah, it's not a problem. But yeah,
some of the people's wastes and things that are out there in the real world, it's like feed a cold. Did somebody tell him when he got better or not? Because he just kept eating, didn't he? Bloody hell! Look at the size of that person. I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? He didn't get better, did he? He still got a cold.
Right. Big screen, small screen reviews. I've been rewatching the classic comedy Bread. Now, I've got a confession to make. I know of the program, but I never ever watched it. I never watched it at all. I was probably out doing other things. So I don't know if you have seen Bread.
Oh yeah, Carla Lane. I know. I think I've mentioned it before. I never really got on with it. It was the people all putting money together in a pot. You know what I mean, for them to get through things. They all live up north. It was Carla Lane, Liverpool, I think, isn't it? Again,
yeah, I think.
To me, I can understand why it was such a hit at the time, but it's just I didn't really get on with it at all. This granddad, I
wonder how it stands up today. Oh, there's Jim Jam. Yeah, let's have a look.
Bloody hell, here's trouble then.
Here's trouble.
Up yours.
Let's see. I haven't put, because I don't know these things. I haven't put your. Sorry.
Oh, that don't matter. Nobody can see it anyway with that bloody writing all over
I
it.
don't.
Yeah.
I need to have a word with you. How do I change?
Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do.
There we go.
Yeah, he has got his little. Hello. Anyway, welcome.
You either remove the words or not. That's it, really.
Hello.
So, what have you been watching then this week?
This week, well, I've been watching loads of my network stuff. So today I've been watching Yes, My Dear. Yes, My Dear. Remember that one? Yeah. Been watching that one. Been watching. What else have I been watching?
A lot of people. Hang on, before you go any further, a lot of people probably won't even know about Arthur Mullard. You might want to explain a little bit, because that is going back a bit. Really.
Yeah, he's just absolute classic. He works with what was the name now? Because that was in all of the. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, wasn't it? Didn't he have a single with Grease or something with Hilda Baker?
He did. It was.
He did.
Yeah. That's actually on. Yeah, that's actually on the Nearest and Dearest box set as an extra. That is that little clip of them singing. Yeah.
And him and his the wife on TV from there were in On the Buses. Well, the Holiday on the Buses.
Holiday, that's right. On the Holiday on the Buses.
But a lot of people wouldn't know this. That's why I thought, well, you might want to just before you go back, just go a little bit here because a lot of people do need to sort of know.
Yeah, and it's had Mike Reading as well as his brother.
Yeah.
Really good show. I've just discovered it, to be honest. I'm only on episode 2, so I'm new to watching.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, it was as big as things like Man About the House at the time.
It was. It was big. Very big.
It was created by Chesney and Wolf, who did On the Buses anyway. The series. Yeah.
And of course, the films were popular, weren't they? The films were very popular.
Well, I think it's only got an Australian release. Yeah, I think it's only got an Australian release and the Blu-ray, and it's quite pricey in it.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be indulging in that. Very pricey.
My mate Steve would know about that one, because it's comedy and it's of the age of the 70s and all this sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, definitely.
So that, you watch that. Now on to the next.
Now on to the next. What else?
All I'm saying to you is you might just want to give it a pause while people go, I remember that, and just give it in the background, because that one, Arthur Mullard, it's a long, you have to really think hard before you go, I know that is now, you know what I mean, because it is that far back and one that's not talked about a lot. So
yeah, definitely. I've been watching a series called Barbara. Do you remember that one with Gwen Taylor? Is it in the 90s, early noughties?
Ooh,
I don't remember.
To go into that. I'm not sure.
And it had Sam Kelly as a husband in it. Sam Kelly, who was in Hello, Hello.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That starts to ring bells a little bit.
Yeah.
Did it get one season, or did it get more?
No, he got 3. He got 3 series.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good to get 3.
But the strange thing is, it got a pilot in 1995, and it didn't actually get a series till 1999. So a few years later, it actually got a series.
Yeah, see, there you are. We've all learned a little bit there, because I have to think, and I just about remember it now. The amount of things that were going through my head. I was thinking about Agony with Maureen Lipman. I was thinking all sorts. Barbara, what? What's that? Why does that ring a bell like this in my head? I'm going,
Yeah. There is one series I wish would get a release, but it's never has done. And you've probably heard of this one because it's from Dudley. The Grimleys. Remember that one, The Grimleys?
Oh, that with Noddy Older.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Remember that one?
Never got a release. Never got a release. He only got a VHS release, I think, of the pilot episode. That was it. Never got a series release on DVD.
No, but I do remember that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of there's also when we're also thinking about these things. If you did actually get to see something like that, and it was a shock to see Noddy there, you know what I mean. When you see documentaries about stuff that could have been and all of this sort of stuff, or comedies from the 70s, they'll show one little clip or something that's not been seen. It'll be Now here's something you haven't seen in 30 odd years, and one that was only one episode long, and here it is, and you go, oh, yeah, look at that. Well, I just about, you know what I mean? And then it stays in your brain a little bit more.
Definitely.
Because it's sort of like reinserted because of that documentary. And I'll tell you what, Channel 5 are guilty of that. Channel 5 really are guilty of the worst of the 80s, what you watch, the comedies of the 70s and all of this sort of stuff, about 2 or 3 hours long, all round Christmas. And you go, bloody hell, you know, like best chocolate, the best UK chocolate bar or something like this. You know what I mean? And you sit through it all only to find out, you know, at the end it's dairy milk or something. You know what I mean? You go, oh, or the nation's favourite biscuit isn't ball.
Oh no, I remember
Rich again, or hobnobs or something. You know what I mean? But the trouble is, I sit there and watch them, and I just go, "Why did I just watch 3 hours? I watched the film." Just for somebody to tell me flipping custard cream one or something. You know what I mean? Just drives me nuts. You know what I mean?
Right. So, have you got anything else that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I've still been working through them Emmerdales.
Oh, the Emmerdales, yeah. He's Mr. Emmerdale, he's delboy.
My mum is. I have to sit down sometimes with her and watch it. But I'll tell you what my mum does like doing. She likes watching them in the afternoon on, is it ITV4 or something like? 2 hours of Emmerdale and then 2 hours of Coronation Street. And I think, I went in to see her today, and it was on, and I went, "Who's that?" And she said, "That's Zoe." I went, "Oh, I've got a bloody clue, Zoe." Apparently, she was a lesbian. Go figure.
Oh,
you know, because he had dropped the name Farm, and it was still called Emmerdale now. And apparently, it's from around about the early 2000s. What we're watching at the moment now, and I'm going, still
no idea.
But when you were talking about it last week, I went, I remember that first episode because Joe Sugden came back, and it was a funeral, and you know, and I remember all Mr. Wilkes and all of that sort of stuff. And I don't know whether it was, I think it looked on video. It didn't look like a film. It wasn't like Yorkshire and a film. I remember it looked dark. Maybe that's just maybe me because Yorkshire is full of rain. Go on, prove me wrong, Ian. It's bloody raining. I bet you it was raining in that episode, or it just finished raining. Bet you any bloody money. Because that's all up there.
Oh dear. Anyhow, let's see what else we've got here. We've got Steve's Gaming. I've been recently watching a lot of You Rang Me Lord. I think it's a really underrated, but far better than IDI. It was interesting.
Yeah. I remember him dressed up as a bleeding butler and all that sort of stuff. You know, looked like a penguin. I forgot Shane, whatever his name is. Was it Shane?
Paul Shane.
Paul Shane. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him dressed up, all in the nines, being a waiter or a servant for this family, and they were all hired, weren't they, from Heidi High? Just about. Was there anybody who wasn't? Was it? Did they have the two dancers in it? I think they were there. And...
yeah, because you had that, didn't you? And then they teamed up again on old Dr. Beeching.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Like he was in that as well, weren't he, from On the Buzzes? Yeah.
And that came out, I think, at the same time that Ronnie Barker tried to bring out Claude, didn't he? Was it that character Claude, the almost blind removal?
Clarence. Was it Clarence?
Clarence, that's it.
Yeah,
Clarence. Claude, Clarence. I couldn't quite.
Yeah. We know what you mean.
All around about that time, it was all like upstairs, downstairs comedy bollocks, wasn't it? I mean, they tried to bring him back. It was almost like let's keep using these sets because we haven't got a lot of money.
Yeah. Right. This Jim says Crimson Peak is a really underrated film.
Yeah, it is.
And that's one that you've got this week, isn't it? Yeah.
It was one of those ones that I really liked the look of the box of. Took an absolute age for it to get to me. Everybody's reviewed it before I've got my copy.
Yeah.
But it took so long that I watched it digitally before my copy turned up. Then I got a note in an email that says your version's now coming. I went, oh, brilliant. So that's why it's still unopened. But I've actually seen it. I mean, I've seen it loads of times, and then of course I've seen it digitally before my copy turned up. But the box is gorgeous. I mean, you saw yourself. So, yeah.
Okay. Valley Video. Oh, it's going around. I'm sick too.
Yeah,
we'll feel better soon, is it?
Yeah.
That's why I've been sick. Yeah.
There is a lot of people that are not well at the moment. But I've not got a bug or anything. Mine's just waiting for my operation really to correct mine.
Yeah.
So
I'm just shivering and all that kind of stuff.
Jim looks healthy. Look, he's got a nice shine on his head, so he must be all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the shiny head. You can't beat a shiny head.
Mr. She makes everything clean. Look at that.
Right. Big screen, small screen reviews. I love You Rang Me Lord. I love to get Dr. Beach in, but unfortunately it's very rare and expensive now.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Everything's bloody expensive now.
It is. Everything is. Yeah, I know.
Tomorrow's my day that I go to Bicester to work, so it's the one day I get out of this house to go, to have to work in an office, and that's the day where I go into the town and I see if any of the charity shops have got anything, and I tell you, it's really thin pickings at the moment.
It's always worth having a look, though.
Usually find some. It's best to do, go for it instead of sitting down with a packet of crisp in your hands, waiting for the hour to go by before you can carry on work. You might as well go for a walk, and in that walk, if you pass by a charity shop, go in. Like I said, the last time I got something was the Tudors, wasn't it? I showed you that. I bought 4 seasons of the Tudors, £1 each. Usually, the Heart of England, they put the box sets at a standard price of about £3, I think. If they you start to get used to the prices after a while. It's like, oh, right, okay, so a singular Blu-ray is around about £2 or £3. A single DVD is like 50p or 2 for £1. Yeah. And the series, doesn't matter how many discs are in it. If it says season 1 on it, it'll be about £3. Yeah. You know what I mean? Unless they know it's got some value to it, and then they whop the bloody price up. And that's what they did with this horror anthology. I told you about it, didn't I? I went in there and I went, "You're joking!" And Christ, that's almost the same price as Amazon. It was one of those ones where sort of like Masters of Horror season 2.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it was like £18. And I said, it's just part 1 as well. And when you looked in at Amazon, it was the same price there. I was going, they figured that one out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look on the back of the box, it has all these different directors like John Carpenter who did this episode and all that. You went, oh, that's what the price was it?
Yeah. Because I remember last year, was it last year or the year before? Did you ever go into cash converters or stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, we got a cash converter, yeah.
Yeah, well, I went into cash converters, the one. I don't know if you ever saw it on the video. I think it's about 2 years ago. I picked up, Stargate. Big, massive Stargate box set.
Really?
Was it what's it called? Containium or something like that, innit? I don't.
Oh,
Continuum.
Right. Yes,
Continuum. Yeah,
that's it.
There was Atlantis, wasn't there? And then they had a Continuum, which was it the ship or something that was trying to get back home or something? It got lost in space or something. Star Trek. It had that famous British actor in it. Oh, that's going to come back to me now. Anyway, it's all set on a spaceship, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, I picked this big box set up and I paid £8 for this massive box set. And I had it on my display in the back unit for ages and ages. And eventually I traded it in and I got like £38 for it.
Yeah.
Trading. But this
it's worth money.
Yeah. Because it's got the films in as well, apparently. It's had all the films in and the series. What I did.
Yeah. It only lasted 1 season. I remember it being on Sky and everybody was really disappointed with it.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. Battlestar Galactica was such a big hit, and it went on for quite a few seasons. And there was a couple of movies, and then they did a Caprica. One season of Caprica, right?
Yeah.
Now you can't really find it very well these days, and when you do see it, it's bloody expensive. And it always seems to be the French release of it or something. Because, but you know, at the end of the day, it's they whop the price up to like 50 or 60 quid. I think sometimes you're lucky and you can get it for about 38 quid, and you're just going, but it was a one season thing and it died a death. What 30, 40 odd pounds for this, and yet you can buy virtually the whole 5 seasons of Battlestar Galactica for that because they made so many of them. You know what I mean? But I do remember buying the DVDs of Star. I mean, it was 10 seasons, remember, and they came in hard shell boxes. You know, and the spines all, you know, were all lovely. You put them all on the shelf. Still got them actually over there. I don't think I ever upgraded them to Blu-ray though. Funny that, but it's 10 seasons of Blu-rays. It probably cost me quite a bit, but I've still got the DVDs. That'll do me for now.
I've just thought of something else. I've been rewatching Band of Brothers from the beginning as well.
Band of Brothers,
yeah. I've started watching that.
How many times has that come out? There's been a tin set of that.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was one of those ones that went wow, and everybody sort of like started to watch it. It was like a mini series type thing at first on Sky. Did it have Band of Brothers? Is that the one with from Friends? What's his name?
David Schwimmer. It's had loads. It's had loads of people in it, and it's like you're watching it and you're like, oh, I don't know him. I remember him being in it. And you got like Stephen Graham's in it as well, Simon Pegg, loads of big stars in it.
That's it. And like I said, it was one of those things where I went, oh, I really quite like that, but then I've never really gone back to it. And I know I've got it.
yeah, definitely.
It's almost like it started off a HBO craze or something. Everybody's got these one seasons of something from HBO.
Oh yeah, there is something I want to ask you, Jim Jam.
Carry on, mate.
Have you ever found any discs that are missing or not working in your bargains? Or have you been quite good? Has it been quite good?
Well, I've been all right. Touch wood. I've been okay. What I found, I did order Ace of Wands a couple of months ago from World of Books, and that was the only one bad one I got. And the disc was a bit. On the one disc, it was just had a deep scratch down it. Yeah. But that's the only one thing. I sent it back straight back. Yeah. I can't think of anything else I've really had any problems with. Touch wood, I've been all right.
You've done well then. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, the charity shops around here. There's one in Dudley called the Salvation Army, and last week they put a new deal on 20 DVDs for £1.
What, 20?
20, 20 DVDs for £1, and literally they've got crates and crates of DVDs. I had a little look through. There was a few things I've seen. What was it? I picked up. I didn't have the Alan Partridge collection. They had that in there, so I was like, I'll grab that, the one with the 3 series in.
I
grabbed that. I also grabbed a Pokemon triple pack DVD. It trades in for like £4, so I was like, I'll grab that as well. And there's like a few old films. There was a film called is it Genevieve? I don't know how you pronounce it. Genevieve.
Is that the one with the car?
That's right. That's the one. Yeah.
John Gregson and somebody like that.
Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Oh, Genevieve.
Yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
Genevieve.
Yeah, and you see, it's like an old sort of vintage car, isn't it? Don't they have this race that they're doing? Having a race, I think it could be.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've never seen it, but I just saw it there, like, and I was like,
oh yeah, it's well worth getting.
Yeah. But like you say, I went. You know, when I found out network was going out of business, I won't talk all night about network or nothing. But bloody
wow. Say that now.
Now, when I found that network was going to go out of business, I'd never thought in a million years I'd get half the titles I've got now. I've been so lucky in sourcing stuff. Like I sent you the picture yesterday, I picked up Don't Drink the Water. I'd never thought in a million years I'd get that. Because that goes for like 30 plus quid on eBay. And CEX in West Brom had a copy for like 12 quid. So I was like, yoink, I'll grab that.
Yeah.
You know. But it's like, when you see stuff and it's like on World of Books, I know you're taking a risk being secondhand and stuff, but when the prices that they're charging at that kind of price, it's kind of a chance you've got to go for, like, you know.
Yeah. I've been quite lucky as well with some charity and World of Books. I remember one that came from World of Books. I can't remember the title, but you opened it up, you know, the casing and everything. You looked at the disc and it had no scratches or anything. It was almost like it had a dry chemical, a chemical that had dried. Yeah, it was almost like a mist. But I got one of my microfiber cloths. You know, I do a little finger test, like put a bit of spittle on a cloth and just go to the corner, and it comes off. And you're going, oh, this is all right. So I've got my cleaner, you know, just some ibuprofen, you know, something that was like not going to cause any damage. Put that on my cloth, and then it's as clean as a whistle. Obviously, what it is that they've used some chemical to clean it, and then it dried. Yeah, and they didn't dry it off properly, and it had turned into some sort of like white mist that was sort of over the top of it. But I thought I was all ready for sending it back because I was touching it. I was going, Christ, it's like plastic. What's this? But it came off. But it's a scare because it's not about. I know I only paid £3 for it. It's like, that's bloody rare, that. It's not fair. And then you're cleaning it and you go, oh, for that. Mm-hmm. Thank God for that. I want that. I want that to be bad. Even worse if it's just one of the discs. You go, oh no, it's disc free. See, you know, it's comedy gold, really. But when it actually happens to you, it's the worst sinking moment. You know what I mean? And the other bad thing is, if you buy it from somewhere and they haven't put the disc in and you've come home, because they've all got a disclaimer that says check your things before you leave and all of this sort of stuff. And you get home and you go, missing disc free. I'll walk back. Oh, well, we ain't got it. You must have lost it then. There's nothing we can do about it. Should have checked it before you left, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, under the illusion that you've got a stack like this. Yeah, I was going to check them all, weren't I? You know. You know, you asked me a stupid question. Do I want to back? Yeah, well, that's because I'd bought that many, hadn't I? I'm going to check everyone. Yeah, I'll just go over to the corner here, look, open everyone like you just did, putting them in. They get you. They get you. That's the bad side of things. Yeah. I've got to remind Ian. We're not going to get through the comments if you don't start straight.
Okay.
Right. I prefer Nightbreed than Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might have a point. Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jim says, I think Clive Barker is tricky to film. As Stephen said, Nightbreed is good. Rawhead Rex is not. A bit like Lovecraft's stories. He's very tricky to film. Yeah, maybe.
I remember they got the biggest kick at the backside, really, to start with all these things that say Stephen King says it's the future of horror and all of this, right? All because it's HP, you know, Lovecrafty-ish, weird looking dogs that come from hell and all of this all dripping in blood and that, and you're going, that's just a weird looking dog.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Stephen King's never said a dog then. What are you trying to tell me? You know what I mean? It's written Pet Sematary, yeah, and it must have been it's a bit different to Pet Sematary, but it's not by much. You know what I mean? That's all I got to say about that, really. I mean,
right.
I think there was a lot of hype when all that stuff came out.
Yeah. What else we've got here? I think Beverly Hills Cop Axel. It's way better than the third one. Well,
I did say I'm not a fan of the third one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, about the third one.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for what it was. It's bringing it back, and it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And
nostalgia.
people getting depressed about it and saying, "Oh, it's not as good as the other." Well, it's just enjoyable. It's enjoyable. Right. Has anybody seen Hundreds of Beavers? I
think this is a line in I will eventually get to see, but it looks very much like that joke's going to be passing me by quite easily because I've heard that 3 times now tonight. So
yeah. Yes. Stephen sounds a bit rude. Yeah. Jim is smiling there. Sasquatch Sunset is a good film. I've not heard of that one.
I haven't seen that one.
No. Have you heard
of that? Have you heard of that one, Jim?
No.
Can't say I have.
Okay. Hi, Jim Jam, my mate. That's big screen, small screen reviews.
None of this bloody welcoming stuff. He's here for a bit, right? I allowed him on. Right? It's. I'm the one, not him.
You're the star. You're the star.
Who's this bastard, right? Right. Next.
So Steve Gaming says Arthur Mullard was a funny on screen, but a real bastard off it. Yeah, I have heard some stories about him. You'd be shocked if you Google his family history.
I never actually got around to Googling anybody sort of like of that age, probably other than maybe when I was buying things like Man About the House and George and Mill, I would look at and go, oh, wonder what they're doing now. I don't remember me ever sort of like Googling like Arthur Mullard and going, oh, I wonder where he is now or anything. I knew he was dead. Right?
I don't know. There were some very serious accusations about him, as far as I know. So
it's like I said, I'm surprised if some people have even heard the name. You know what I mean?
Let's see. Next one.
Yeah, put the words up. Can't see that Jim Jam face.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I told you I'm doing a Biden. That was my excuse. I don't know what I'm doing. Stephen Moss, 2 good TV movies to check out. Bad Ronald and Crawl Space. Not the Crawl Space that stars Klaus Kingsley.
Why have I heard of Bad Ronald? Is that Ronald McDonald? It was it was something based around that or something.
I don't know.
The clown, that was. I'm probably mixing that up. I just know that there was something that was made up about a bad Ronald McDonald. I'm probably thinking something different.
I remember Arthur Mullard. Yeah.
It's his. I think people remember the accent more than the
he was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Barbara Windsor.
That's when he had his haircut.
Remember that? Yeah. Stephen says there were some nasty allegations about him off screen. Yeah. As Sai says, hi guys, I had one of the best experiences
I knew he was going to say
I've ever had in the cinema on Saturday. I watched Pearl, X, and Maxine. Triple bill. It was awesome. I can imagine it was.
That Simon Mayo and whatever his name is that I can't pronounce gave it an absolute wonderful review on Friday. And I went, right, I know that's Cy going for a triple bill if that thing ever does go off, and I knew full well it would be. And then I just thought, Cy, and I bet you any money he takes that Sammy G with him, right?
Oh, that's
see, I know Sammy G of old, And I was really going to send a text message say, "Oi, give that Sammy G a nudge and say, do you know what? I am around if he wants to start mentioning everybody but me, you know, in this world, because everything he pulls up, I love this film. And by the way, you know, this guy likes this film and this guy likes this film." I'm going, hang on a minute. Are you ever gonna turn around and say delboy likes this one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm going, he's mentioned everybody from the Yellow
Apart
Pages
from you.
bar me.
Oh.
What's going on? I'm feeling
God.
so unloved.
Oh.
I'm like this. Nah,
Yeah,
not really.
I can
Sammy
imagine.
G's great. He started just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Doing
From
really
what
well.
I gather with Maxine, I think the reviews have been quite favourable.
Very favourable.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of people have been looking forward to this film for a long time.
You know me, I get the alerts up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Even this morning, I got the alert on YouTube saying that although you can't pre-order it yet, they're already saying that there's going to be a Blu-ray and a 4K for this. And apparently in America, they've never had Pearl and X come out natively, right?
Oh.
So they're thinking that they might bring it out as a box set, all three together in one. Yeah. So instantly now people are going, "Oh, wait for a free disc edition and all sorts of stuff."
That's bound to happen.
And we over here, we've been lucky. If you knew of it and you knew the secret of it being really good, and you picked up the steel books of them, they're mint. They're worth a fortune. Now you'll never get them. You know what I mean? Even if you went over to France or got a bootleg or whatever it is, they're still 80 quid. You know what I mean?
Are they okay releases? They're not.
That's what I mean. There was a, but nobody really knew much about what X was and what Pearl was. It was Nigel that, Rock that told me, and I happened to be looking, going, oh, but I only collect steel books, and the only place I could get them from was Italy, and it was Keith from Euphoria Pictures that basically. Sort of like put me straight and said, look, it's Germany that's more known for bootlegs. I think you'll be fine with Italy. I'm pretty sure Italy they're legit. Don't feel bad about getting them from Italy. I got it over here. Picture's perfect. It's great. And it's got Italian writing. Yeah. Thank God it's just got one letter in it. X. That make you can spell that in a million different ways and it still looks English. The letter X. It's amazing.
Still X.
Right? No, I don't give a shit that it's Italian. It's just got a big X on the front. Who knew? The letter X is the same in Italy as it is in English.
Wow, I would have thought that. Guys, I had one of the best experiences I've ever seen in the cinema on Saturday. I watched the Pearl, X, and Maxine triple bill. It was awesome. Yeah, I can imagine. Stephen Taylor says, good evening to you all. I wondered, did you prefer the earlier Only Fools with Grandad or when Uncle Albert came in? Do you think it was slightly less fun when Cassandra and Rackle were there? Interesting question. I'm not a big expert on Only Fools and Horses.
I'll let Jim Jam go, even though I could tell you a lot about Fools and Horses. But what do you think then, Jim Jam, to this one? This is a very interesting question.
It is a very interesting question. I'm going to say I think I prefer the early ones with Grandad because the later ones felt a little bit like a soap opera in a way, if I'm honest, because it just like carries on the story and it felt like each episode was just going on to the next one. But I do like all of them. I've got nothing against the later ones, but if I have to choose, I'm going to say the Grandad episodes because it's just Leonard Pierce. It's just fantastic. Really, really funny. It just felt like really, I don't know, I can't think of the word. It just felt like all into place kind of thing. But yeah.
What about the second part of the question there, Jim Jam, about Cassandra? Less fun when these two came into it.
I don't think so. I like the characters. I like how Raquel come into the story. I like her Cassandra come into the story. Because with Cassandra coming in, that was the same. Was that the same episode when he fell down the bar, fell through the bar, when he met Cassandra? I can't. When Rodney met Cassandra.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because he was actually waiting for Rodney to come out of the night.
That's right. There we go. That's right. So yeah. No, I think it still continued to be funny. I think it just added to the funniness, but that's just my opinion. But
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing much more else to say. I wanted Jim Jam to say because I mean, basically he's got a voice, and you could probably drop the words so that you can see Jim Jam's face because I can see it.
I am here.
Right. Just for a moment, but right. a lot of people do say that Only Fools and Horses is there's two sides to Only Fools and Horses, and there's definitely a shift change. But I consider it to have three, to be quite honest. And one of the shift changes is when Grandad died, and then when and then when Uncle Albert came along, it was different. The next change is when it should have ended. And it did, but then it came back, which is the last phase. That's the real shift of, is it funny anymore? Should it have come back anymore? And all of that, and that's where a lot of people will talk about it. But yes, it went from sort of like being a half-hour show into being something like 45 minutes when Cassandra and Raquel came in. But believe it or not, Uncle Albert was in the half-hour shows. It was for one season, and then it turned into this 45-minute less episodes, but longer time to tell a funny story. And I think it was a time of experimentation as well, because they did quite a few specials, and some of these specials don't work even now for me. And those are like To Hull and Back. That's got no laughter track. All the way through it, there's no laughter track, and it's jarring because you'd heard it so all the way through the others, and you're going, "There's the laughter track." I don't know whether I quite like this or not. And the other one is the two-part Miami Twice, which divides people because again, 2 episodes, one set in Peckham and the other one set in America, and in America it's so jarring. Do you know what I mean? It's like. You'd think it'd be funnier than it was, but it was not. It's in fact, actually, sometimes it's a bit of an embarrassment. There are funny bits in it. Delboy driving on the left. You know what I mean? In America and all of that sort of stuff. It can be quite funny. There's definitely it's not a Godfather, for God's sake.
There's another one as well. There is another episode as well. The Royal Flush. I don't think that worked very good either.
Oh yeah. I mean, I tend to single out those ones over the Royal Flush, but to me, there's from around about episode 2 of Only Fools and Horses, I was hooked because I remember episode 2 incredibly well, and that was Delboy selling a car to an Aussie.
That's right,
doing it up. There he was saying that it was previously owned by a vicar because it's got the Bible in the glove compartment and all of this sort of stuff. But they go to this nightclub and they see these 2 girls, and I was just thinking to myself when I was rewatching them, over and over again, I said, how old was David Jason trying to pull these people? They look like about 18 years old, these 2 girls. I could imagine Rodney picking up one of them. But anyway, they tried to pass Rodney off, didn't they, as a tennis player, didn't they?
That's right.
They called him Hot Rod in Wimbledon or something, And they said, we're measuring him up for a new bat or something. They said, racket. And they said, bloody well is, dear. You said the prices and all of this. But the funniest line in the whole of that is, which do you prefer, AstroTurf or grass? And Rodney's there just going, I don't know, what are you talking about? Rodney, which do you prefer, grass or AstroTurf? Don't know, never smoked AstroTurf. Oh, and then he has to admit that they're not there really for Wimbledon. No, they're Concorde pilots. That was the last line before they're driving back, and that's what I call comedy gold, because it was like line after line after line, and it was just hitting you like definitely. That. That's fun to me. So as soon as that second episode came, and I was hooked. I was hoping that everyone would be that quick. They all couldn't be, of course, but that's from that moment on, I was there.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a different type of comedy. I like this. That's all I'm going to say, really. Rant over.
Okay.
You can hide Jim Jam now, and look, we're going to see him submerged. We can see his island head.
I do the same every time.
What do you mean? What? No words.
No, I've not got anything to say. Yeah. Let's say shops 10 minutes walk from my workplace. There is new stuff pretty much every day, but thin pickings at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Stephen Taylor, good evening to you all. I wonder, did you? We've had that one. Yeah. I told you. Stargate Universe ran for 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's Caprica that was one. Sorry, I get muddled up, so I do apologise. But yeah, I mean, I do know that it was an English. It was an English. I've forgotten his name. You knew his name the last time we talked about it, Ian. I've forgotten it now.
What's his name?
Famous actor. Bloody hell. He was in. No, he wasn't in Fight Club. I've forgotten his name anyway. But I remember from around about the 3rd or 4th episode in, people were going, "What the hell's this?"
Yeah, it got cancelled.
The writing was really on the wall.
Yeah. Right.
Robert Carlyle.
That's it. Yeah, Robert Carlyle. He was quite popular at a certain time, wasn't he?
Was the only thing worth, but he was the only thing worth watching in the first 10 episodes of that show.
And World of Books does buy 3, get 1 free on DVDs and Blu-rays. Music Magpie is good because you can order as much as you want and it's a free delivery. Not CX, which is a rip-off with their postage charges. Yeah, a lot of people are not very pleased with CX.
I think Music Magpie's got quite a big backer, which is why they basically get their free in the post packaging type things. Because the World of Books, they're not bad with their postage. In fact, if you double up and treble up, the price is actually quite good. But if you buy one, you go, you know what I mean?
They knock the price down on World of Books because if you buy 3 items, I think they take 30% off.
Yeah, that's it. It's to entice you.
That's right. But they'll take much to entice me with the networks. When
I tend to go to their website and I look and I go, I'm looking for 2 things. And then if I find the 2 things, it's like I've only got to find 1 thing now to get the 30% off. I'm pretty sure I'd have bought something like that, looking through like you do. But I don't go looking unless I know I've got 2 on my mind that I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know if I find one, I'm never going to find the other 2 that's going to give me that 30% off. I'm a right tight bastard, me.
And then Stephen Moore says on each title.
They shame, they rip off with their postage charges on each title.
And Sandy says, I think you'd get through the comments easier if Delboy is read them. No offense intended. I'm not offended.
That's really nice to say, Sandy. Thanks very much. I've got the £5. I'll send the check tomorrow.
What size TVs do you all have? And do you like to keep up to date with the latest technology? Okay, so that's a good question.
Jim Jam first or you, Ian? I'll go last, I think.
My TV is 55 inches, 4K.
Bragger.
And it's and I've got a 4K player which also does what you call it. See, I told you I'm going to. I can't remember what I'm saying. It plays American discs as well, Blu-rays, and it's a great. And I've got another one. I've got 2 4K players. I don't know how that happened. I picked one up. And yeah, my TV I think is Panasonic. I think, yeah, and that's it.
Okay.
What type of TV? OLED, LED, what?
I don't think it's OLED. I don't know.
No, Panasonic. Most of their range is OLED.
Oh well, there you are. You see, you know more about it than me. I
They
don't.
They did do LED and QLED and all of that sort of stuff, but
Yeah.
most of their range is OLED. I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the 55-inch is quite good. You know, it's all right.
The 55-inch Panasonic. I tell you, I bet you any money it's the 950B. If you look on the back, it's an actual gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's got
it is. I absolutely love it.
The best black levels you'll ever come across.
Yeah,
but anyway,
the 4K is brilliant.
Jim Jam, what about you?
What about me? Okay, so I've got a 55, but it's a Samsung.
Yeah, but did you buy it or did you nick it? I know what part of the country you're from.
I'm not coming back on ever again, no.
I'm only joking. Go
on. Yeah, just got a 55 Samsung. Yeah. I have got access to a 4K player through PS5, but I haven't actually got a 4K player. So
yeah,
but it still plays 4Ks, and I haven't got multi-region or nothing. But yeah, does the trick. Does the trick. I have got a sound bar as well, which I'll put on and annoy the neighbours sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of them.
Yeah.
Don't know much about it. I've got one.
But yeah.
I must admit, when it comes to me, it's one of those things where when I don't upgrade my equipment very often because I've tended to have bought in the past the higher end stuff, which seems to last a bit longer, believe it or not. If you now, I can't say that's true about everything because the world has changed. But basically, I bought a Pioneer, right? A 55-inch Pioneer plasma screen back in the day, like 2004. Telly cost $3,000, right? It still works now.
Yeah.
Take it like that, right? Okay. Plasma technology, old, but it's got no screen burn, nothing, no color degradation. The only thing is that you have noticed it get a little bit darker, and that's because plasma does have a half-life, and that's why they died. They were supposed to last about 6 years, and then basically you were supposed to change your model. So this now at what 20 years nearly, it's done its job.
It's done its job.
But it's one of those things like the last TV I had before the one that I've got was a 3D TV, and that was a Panasonic. And it's like one of those things. I don't go into Currys. Well, I do, or like at the time when Dixon's or Currys was around. I go in there just to see if the poor boys that are trying to sell you the TV have done their own work or not. I used to go in there because I used to go in there and say, "Oh, so what's the pixel depth then of this one?" And where's this guy coming from? So no, but I usually go into places that are like richer sounds and that the people that are really pushing the art, and they know that there are brands out there that have got £1,000 model TV, and you're looking at the one that's one under that or something. So they'll say, "Do you know what? For pound." They'll actually be quite honest with you and say, if you're looking for the model and you're looking at the highest model and you're looking at the one below it, pound for pound, it's probably better for you to go for the one below it. You've got nearly all the features. It's just you're going to have a remote that's not in plush aluminium. It's going to be a plastic remote. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the screen is going to be exactly the same as its bigger brother because all they've done is change the bezel. And some of this is quite true. I mean, I don't want to go on for too long, but if you buy a Sony TV back in the 80s, it was a Sony TV. You got to the 90s and the 2000s, and you found out that the Trinitron TV was actually probably an LG CRT screen. It was the electronics and the surround and the bezel that made it a Sony. And that happened a lot with, especially around LCD and LED. Right? If you bought a Samsung TV, it was bound sure to be an LG rebadged. It was only the bezel, that they hooked, that gave you those blacks, because they had a special chip that made the best of that panel. Do you see what I mean? LG would pay for the electrics, so of course they made the panels for Samsung and said, "There you go," and they were getting all the money for the panels. All that was changing was the bezel. So when you bought a Sony and you were a snob and said, "Oh, look, I've got a Sony," said, "I got a Samsung. It's got the same panel as that.
Yeah,
mine's the same as yours, and it cost me £300 less. Who feels the bigger mug now?" You know what I mean? It literally was that. But anyway, I digress. Don't feel bad about the PS5, and that sort of stuff. I have to say, you will get a better if you bought a player.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it is geared towards games. It's not geared towards things like Dolby Atmos and all of this sort of stuff. But not the films. So you'd only really notice it if you had a surround sound amp or something like an Atmos amp.
Yeah.
You put your PS5 into it, and you just recognize it's night and day. The sound. Because in the games, films. So if you have got the money, do buy a Panasonic or a Samsung 4K player. I think those are the two best. I've got a Panasonic 9000, which is the top of the range. Everybody talks about it. The one below that's an 830, which is prone to having a few little problems with the disc tray. But you pair that with a Panasonic OLED, my God, it will equal the £3,000 TVs, because there's no point buying a cheap 4K player and then having a £3,000 TV, because again, there are differences, And the only other thing I want to say about it all is sound. It's the most underrated part probably of your whole movie system. I don't pinch on the sound. I've got a Dolby Atmos. It's a Denon Atmos speed system. It is, if you ever walk into somebody that's got a top of the range sound system and you sit down and watch a film with them, you will know when you get home, I want that, because you'll sit down now in front of your TV, switch it on, and you'll go, "Our sound sounds mono." It's awful. I've just been in this house, and the surround is like, you can hear the bullets going overhead and everything. You go over and you go, "I missed that. I ain't got that on." And then you find out it's going to cost you more for the speakers than it is the amp itself. You know what I mean? Because you need 10 of the buggers. It's 9 speakers and 1 subwoofer, and you're going, "How much?" Might as well shall I just write a blank check? Because I know how much it cost me, right, for all of this. But if you can afford it, it's nice. And if you can't, don't be off by the cheap Atmos soundbars. There are some good ones, but just remember, you are getting what you pay for.
Definitely.
And the reason that my screen is not bigger than it actually, than it is, it's a 55-inch, just like yours. I think I've got the same model as you, Ian, believe it or not. I live in a room that's 18 foot long and 9 foot wide. If I had a bigger room, I'd have a bigger TV, but I don't have a bigger room, so I can't have a bigger TV. But I remember back in the day when I had laser discs, my friend used to come round to watch, and he said, "Your room's like the Starship Enterprise." He used to laugh every time he wanted. He said, "Your room's like the Starship Enterprise." I swear, when you come home and you turn the lights on, all the lights outside dim. Because you're turning on so many things. I had a telly on, the computer on down here. I had 2 monitors. I had the surround sound amp. I had all this, and then the PlayStation, the Xbox, my NAT drives. You switch them all on, and it's almost like switching on Knight Rider's car. The dashboard lights up like this. And the sound was brilliant. And that's all I've got to say, really. Honestly, you get what you pay for. Obviously, also think of it like this. If you spend 60% of your time in front of the TV, do you really want to waste your eyes on degraded, lower price stuff? Your eyesight should be protected. You will, get much better clarity and be doing a lot less squinting and having the correct light if you spend that little bit more. And it's like anything. I spent most of my time driving to work, so of course I wanted my car to be the best. If I'm spending that many hours traveling to work, I want to travel in comfort. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So the second most expensive items I've ever bought, first was the car, second has been my stuff that I watch my telly on.
Yeah.
Simple as that, really. That's it.
Okay. And then we've got Steve Moles. Bad Ronald is a 1974 American made-for-television horror thriller directed by Buzz Kulick and starring Jason Jacoboy, Philippa Scott, John Larch, and Dabney Coleman and Kim Hunter.
Yeah, I remember it now. It's one of those things where I keep thinking, oh, is that to do with Ronald McDonald or not? It actually came out at the same sort of time. I think there's even a joke later on about that film in regards to Ronald Reagan. I think there's even a joke in there about Ronald Reagan, if I remember right.
Okay. Next comment, Stephen Moores. I don't have a TV. I have a projector. All right.
And all I'll say is I think that's probably the future. Well done, mate.
Yeah. And then Stephen Moores, 120-inch screen. Blood.
Wow.
That is big.
He's bragging now.
Yeah. That is big, isn't it?
I think it is the way, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it, at the end of the day, the only downside I think I have with projectors is if you've ever worked in an office with a projector, you know that the bulbs go. When the bulbs go, it's almost like a scientific experiment trying to get the bulb out and put the new one in. And you can imagine if it was a 4K bulb, you know, it's same sort of bulb quality that you get in projectors inside the cinemas. It must cost a fortune for the bulb. You know, it's not like going in and say, "Can I have a 60 watt, please?" That ain't going to be happening, is it, with a projector?
All right. So we've got here. What kind of sound setup do you have? And then Sai says only fools should have ended when they became millionaires.
Yeah, that's what that third act like.
Yeah. Sai says have it connected to the sound bar, but it's loud, so I have to lower it a bit. But have it connected to a region-free Blu-ray player, but planning on buying a 4K player soon.
Well, multi-region, just to end the story here about multi-region, there's only certain 4K discs that are not region-free. And those were mistakes, apparently. They're things from Screen Factory and stuff like that, where they said, you know, we're bringing out this box set, and it was like The Last House on the Left or something. I can't remember. And it went worldwide. And all of a sudden, somebody was saying, I can't play this in my player. I thought 4K was region free. And all that happened was the company then put their hands up and said, yeah, we've made a mistake, but we're not doing a recall. It's just one of those things that will never happen again. And therefore, you know, it's a mistake. But there are several of these mistakes now. And it's making people get a bit scary and jumpy in regards to, is multi-region going to come back? Because multi-region shouldn't be there in this day and age. Physical media is having a hard enough time. You need your collectors now. You need people buying it. We don't need the hiccups of, I can't get it in this country, so I've got to go to another country. And now multi-region becomes a problem again to us all. International law needs to change, not our bank balances and players. That's all I've got to say about it. So when you get to 4K, don't worry about multi-region. But you will still need to think about multi-region if you've got American Blu-ray discs, because those will not play in it. The Blu-ray part of the 4K player, the lens that picks up the Blu-ray, if it's American and it's not multi-region, again, it will not play. So it is important still. Still important for your old collection.
Okay. Have it connected to a sound bar, but it's loud, so I have to lower it a bit. have it connected to a region-free Blu-ray player, but planning on buying a 4K player soon.
Yeah, like I said, he's got a great thing there. Sound bars. We were just talking about them just now. The higher the price, sometimes the better the quality, but it's not always the same. And I do feel for you. Sound bars have less finesse when it comes to volume level. That's all you got to say. There's less. They are there at a strip that is trying to do so many things that 9 speakers are supposed to do. Do you see what I mean? It's like, so you're not going to have the finesse of being able to have the center speaker bolting out less volume than the others to give, you know what I mean? It's just not that type of setup. It's gonna belt it out or not.
Yeah. Right then, guys, I am gonna go now because I've got to go and go and watch some TV. But thank you so much for having me on the stream tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been short but fun.
No, it's been really good. Piss off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I meant do come back. It was really nice to have you on. But one thing I want to know, I think the world would like to know, Jim, and that is, how's it going with you? You know, I know that redundancy is such a bad thing. Is the light on the horizon?
Yeah. I'm just still in the searching process at the minute.
I wish you well, my friend. That's all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. It's one of them. You know, it's tough, but like you said, there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. It just don't feel like it at the minute, like, you know. But
just keep bringing that content out so I can mention it in my blogs. That's all I got.
I will do. All right then, guys. I'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Ian. And subscribe to this fella.
Yeah, please subscribe to Jim Jam. I'll have to put up his link, I think, in the description. I'll do that.
The trouble I have with putting Jim Jam as a link on my site is it keeps coming out bastard every time I type it. It must be just something about my fingers. I went Jim Jam. It still says bastard when I'm. I swear I'm hitting the J. I am.
Right, I'll see you later then, guys.
Okay, bye then. Bye. Bye.
Oh, what a wonderful guy!
Fantastic. Absolutely.
I'm going to let you keep talking in the comments and not talk so much.
Cy Robson says, "Cool." Stephen Moore says, I've had a large screen TV in the past, and the screen went on them.
And on them all.
It would do a thing where the TV would keep turning off by itself every 10 minutes. Something to do with the TV calibrator or whatever.
Yeah. Like I said, I won't interrupt too much, but you can have some really bad ones. The early technology, they used to get hot, and when those capacitors when they get hot, they switch themselves off to protect themselves. That's it.
So, what is your favorite TV sitcom? For me, it has to be Cheers.
Yeah, US sitcom. Mine's Frasier. No qualms there. Straight away, Frasier.
I think the Larry David one. I love the Larry David. I think he's.
Oh, at your convenience. What's it called?
He's got a series. See, I told you I'm a Biden moments. I can't remember the series, but I've got some in my collection. He's a very talented thing, and he's finished now as well.
He wrote half of Seinfeld, didn't he?
That's right, he did. Yeah.
It's convenience or something. I forgot what it is.
It's Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's it. I love it. I think it's great. The funny
thing about that is that I was really, really watching that for the first 5 seasons, and then for some unknown reason, I think it was because of work.
Yeah,
I just was doing more and more at work that certain stuff I wasn't watching anymore, and it was then very difficult to go back. And I keep meaning to do so because I believe it kept the quality all the way up to the end.
Yeah,
and I've still only got, I think, the first 5 seasons. I think it's the first 5 seasons.
I've bought those. Yeah, they're really good. They're excellent. So that's my favorite Curb your enthusiasm.
By the way, side cheers. Never knocking that. The Blu-rays are out now of Cheers. 11 seasons, just over the ton. But apparently the quality is exceptional. Apparently.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good series. Cheers.
Yeah.
So, right. I'm lucky that I have a big blank wall to beam onto. All right.
Yeah, he's got a projector. He's got a projector. Yeah.
And then Danny Duke says, "Hi, how are you all? I'm good. Thank you for joining us, Danny." And Cy Robson, hi. And then Danny Dukes, hi, matey. Then Sandy Ottawa, I've watched Failure of Engineer Garin tonight. Have you seen it? 1973 Soviet sci-fi. I've not.
It's one of those ones I can definitely tell you I have not seen that, but you've got me piqued in interest in regards to that one, because after watching The Moon, like I did last week, which was a Korean, sort of a bit like The Martian, but that's giving it a bit of a bad knock, really, because it's not like The Martian at all. After watching that and seeing how they did their science fiction, there's probably some brilliant gem sci-fi TV that was made in foreign countries that I haven't even touched the tip of. You know, it's like discovering Japanese or Korean TV for the first time, and you're just going, "Wow, cinema really was good in Korea. Who knew?" You know what I mean, like that. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the same with something like Failure of Engineer Garin. I mean, that sounds great. Sounds very much like it's something to do with some project of going into space that goes wrong, or
Soviet sci-fi. Fine. Sandy says, I still use a 24-inch 180p TV screen, and I only sit 1 meter in front of it. Got no plan in buying a bigger screen. It's good enough. Well, that's good. If it works for you, then I say that's fine.
No, that I tell you what, Sandy, that sounds it sounds comfy to me. That sitting in front of a 24-inch screen. I mean, do you remember when we used to be sitting in front of 20-inch screens and 14-inch screens? We had 14-inch screens in our bedroom. We thought we had we thought we had the living room telly in our bedrooms. You know? We didn't care it was only 14-inch. Sandy, what a lovely thing to say. I think, 24-inch 1080p sounds gorgeous. And I'll tell you what, if you're married or you've got some husband with you sitting in front of that, you must be cuddled up together watching it just to see the 24 inches together. What a nice thing.
Yeah.
I think that is. What a nice thing.
So, Jim Jam, have you any interest in video games? When you were a kid, you mentioned you had a PS5 earlier. I don't know.
Oh, Jim Jam's gone, but you haven't got the words up, matey. But I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure he does have he does like video games, because I'm pretty sure I saw on one of his videos that he's got a PS5, hasn't he? So we know that he's got a valid interest. So yeah. I'd have liked to have known his retro background on computers, to be quite honest, but you never know. He might be back.
Yeah, another day, another time. And then big screen, small screen reviews by Jim Jam. Danny, if you could rewrite an ending to a film, what would it be and why? Oh, a minute.
We've had this before, and I
My
always
brain is just not very good today.
Yeah, that's such a tricky one to somebody who's a collector, because I mean, how many times have we turned around and said, "You know what? I love that film, but the ending was a bit weak," and then
you wear that, don't you?
someone comes along and quite rightly thinks, well, if you keep saying that, then I'm going to ask the bloody question. Then, what film is it that you'd rewrite the ending of, and then you go, don't know. That's how I am, because I'm looking at it and going, Christ, can't think right on the spur of the moment. I'm going,
it's a hell of a question, because I just can't.
I think I probably, one that comes off to mind is Alien 3. I probably would have written it different. Where
I like Alien 3. I don't know why it gets all the hate.
Ripley falls into the pit, and the chest that comes out, she's holding on to it and then dies. Which is an okay-ish ending, but everybody was turning around and going, if that's the end of the Alien trilogy, because that was the third film and nobody knew any better. That's a pretty weak ending, because at the end of the second one, it was different. At the end of the first one, there was the third one seems to indicate that's the end then, because she's died with the one that's coming out of her stomach. So that must be the end.
Yeah.
So I might think, the third one I might have rewritten a bit different. And I'm just going to say that for now. Obviously I could probably turn around and say Star Trek: The Motion Picture, one of my favorite films. I could probably write a different ending than two of them getting together and joining up and creating a new entity. That's a bit weak of an ending.
I don't know. My brain just can't function. I'm sorry.
Katie, I'll try the best to do it. And by the way, we're near the end of the lads, and if Ian doesn't feel too well,
I'll carry on. But you can keep an eye on it. The new Labour government said this week that the NHS is broken. Do you agree? It's a bit harsh. I'm sorry, I don't want to get into all that stuff.
That's politics, I have to say. It's not really. I will turn around and say, if the consensus by the rest of this country is that the NHS is broken, and remember, I've got a health issue at the moment, and so is Ian. I would say that they're stretched. They're stretched to the point of breaking. How's that? And then move on, because it's not really a film question, is it?
You can't speak to your doctor.
Yeah, that's it.
And I used to have a good relationship with my doctor, but you can't.
And who is your doctor? It's a locum.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Not the same one you speak to every time you have to read.
You're right. It's not good. 24-inch screen is fine. I still remember watching films and playing games on a black and white 5-inch screen. Wow. Yeah, well, because of my age, I remember when those televisions were so small. They were in 60s. They really were small.
Yeah,
they were like portable TVs.
My Vic 20 was hooked up to, no word of a lie, a 5-inch black and white TV that was integrated in with a radio and a cassette player. It was actually it was like a walk around ghetto blaster type thing, and the telly was in the corner, black and white.
What they did, they kind of made it a piece of furniture, the television. That's what it was.
Yes,
it was because then the mentality was, it's furniture, and that's why.
That's where it comes from with the record player, isn't it? It used to be called the I forgot what we called it, but we had this massive sideboard, and it had a record player at one end and a radio built in. It was a gramophone or something.
That's right.
What we called it, right? And it was furniture. It was made in mahogany.
Yeah, it is. It's furniture.
It was huge, like a drinks cabinet.
They were big, weren't they? Very big. Stephen Till, yes, that's what 14 years of Tories did.
Well, I'm not going to go into politics of that, because I'd say that the breakages were happening even under the last one before that. So
I would rewrite the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Does that count?
It bloody well does. Forget the ending. Yeah, rewrite that trilogy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan of the follow-ups. I like the original ones. But yeah, I get that. Danny Duke says, "Get better, Ian. Thank you." Which I will, hopefully. Cy Robertson, I thought the same, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. All right. Ian needs to be tucked up in bed with a bowl of soup. Yeah, we've had the soup.
Yeah, it does indeed.
Yeah, it does work. It does work. And a box of paracetamol. Yeah, I've got something stronger than them. I've needed them stronger because of pain.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And then Danny Dukes, Disney killed Star Wars. I don't think a lot of people would argue with you there. Whether it's killed, you could argue it's still going. And
you could actually probably there was some people that actually said that Disney bought a dud. You got to remember that there was the Phantom Menace, there was Attack of the Clones. These weren't the films that we thought they were going to be when you had a trilogy as good as Star Wars was, the original.
Yeah.
We look at them now and laugh and go, actually, they're not that bad. But at the end of the day, when Disney bought Star Wars, they bought it top dollar at a time where there were 6 films and those 3 films weren't exactly like stellar. But we watched them because they were a movie series that we remember as kids and loved, and we were looking at them really with rose petals, you know what I mean? Tinted glass.
Yeah.
So, I think Disney, as much as people say killed Star Wars, the writing was on the wall when Disney bought it. Where you're going to go with this? I think Disney just thought, worst case scenario, at least we've got TV programs. Instead of the films, they had TV programs they could make. You know what I mean? Because films are bloody to make. So
it's all a big debate on streaming and all that stuff, really. Oh, guys. Sarah Robson, yes, big time. They killed it. And hello. I'm watching now. Thank you for watching. Thank you. And I think that's it. Thank you. We're at the end. So that's good. I'm sorry.
Good and bad.
Up with everything, but I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it anyhow, and it was good to have Jim Jam on as well. It had something different, and that was good. And he was enthusiastic, which you can't beat a bit of enthusiasm. And that's it, really.
I just want to say thanks to everybody that joined me last Thursday on my stream with Denny about watching Watch with Mother. We had a whale of a time on that. We had some new people come in and ask some questions. It was really nice of some of you guys that came along and watched that. That gave us so much confidence, I think, in doing more of that type of content. And I just want to say, if I can, do what you can with keeping supporting Ian. Ian is I think he's one of those people that if we didn't have him on YouTube and watched his content daily like we do, it'd be a much poorer place. Don't you think? Come on, think of a world without Ian. I mean, my God, you might as well say a nuclear bomb went off in my backyard. Right? Because that'd be a huge chunk of my daytime gone. As much as I want to build my channel, I think the biggest hurt would be if Ian wasn't around on his channel. That's about the best recommendation that I can possibly say.
Thank you.
And then, secondly, then think of people like Jim Jam and myself.
Yeah. They've got a lot of knowledge, which is good. I like people with a lot of knowledge, like you, Delboy. Things that I don't know about is good to, discover a lot of things. Excellent. I've got some more comments. Sarah Robson, have a great time. Love the stream. Thank you, Danny. That's really good. Thank you. And also, you say making movies is expensive. The latest Star Wars show, The Acolyte, cost $180 million for 8 episodes.
Yeah. But the other thing to think about that is name a Star Wars film or that's over 2 hours 20 minutes long, right? And those films cost 180 million themselves. So for 2 hours, 180 million episodes at 50 minutes each at 180 million. I know which one's the cheapest, and that's the TV show.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. You know, at the end of the day, it swings and roundabouts. But I'll tell you what, Si, you're dead on. The prices that people to make these programs on these films and the TV, and you can just see that they've scrimped on the special effects.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't mind if you scrimp on the special effects, but write a story.
Yeah, you've got to have a script.
Write a story that is compelling and makes me want to watch it, because I can tell you now, I can put the Martian Chronicles on my TV and I will be engrossed for 3.5 hours.
I agree.
The effects of that look like they've just gone into a toy shop and put an Airfix model together and done it, right?
Yeah.
The story is compelling and it makes me watch it. I can't say the same with Star Wars at the moment. What? No.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. And then we've got I think we've had that one. Star Wars needs to be done by a fan for the fans. I suspect.
Yeah, but we know the danger of that though as well, because Russell T Davies and Doctor Who even said he was a fan. Have you looked
look what he's done?
There is a danger to that, but I agree. If somebody is a fan, you think that they'd want to protect it. You think that they'd remember it like we did as kids.
Yeah.
But when they get to the point where they're about to make it or do something with it, it's almost like producers from all around the world suddenly come in and say, you can't do that, you can't write it like that, all this sort of stuff, and then it tends to be not what it's not what you as a fan wanted either.
No, it's true. I think you're right. We've had that one. Each episode costs more than what Godzilla -1 cost, and I know what I want to watch over and over again.
Exactly. I mean, Godzilla -1 is one of those films that's like a quarter of a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
And yet everybody wants to know, where is Godzilla -1 4K going to be released in the world? And the only thing that we've got so far that we can tell you about is, I think there's a Blu-ray release, and I think it's going to be in Japan, and the rest of the world can go sod itself.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anything. I think they've now got a distributor to stream it, but I'm not a streamer. I want the physical media.
Yeah, quite right.
But I mean, you look at Godzilla and Kong, those films that are made in Hollywood, and then you look at Godzilla -1, made from its native place, and a quarter of the cost, and then and everybody loves the quarter of the cost one, and I'm with it as well. I'm with that. You know what I
mean? Stephen Moore said, "Get well soon, Ian." Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, hopefully next week I'll be back. I don't know whether I'll do any more videos tomorrow. I might do. I don't know. I might just have another.
We want you to be better more, matey, if you need to rest.
I have got some things that I've got ideas, but it's always like that. And then I watched the new Planet of the Apes film today. Not as good as the original, of course, but well worth watching. Well, that's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I like it when people say it's well worth watching, because we're not dissing it and saying it's a load of whatever.
The only thing I've got to say about the new Planet of the Apes films is, please, is it possible that you don't try and tie up the new films with the old ones as a one continuity? I like to think that that's possible, but I also think that that's too big a thing to try even attempt. And I'm quite happy with thinking that the new modern Planet of the Apes starts off with, say, the Tim Burton film, or starts off with the James Franco film. You know what I mean? I just like to think of the classic Planet of the Apes as being those 5 films, and then leave it there, because that's my little bubble. That's my little bit of where I go. back to this and not have it spoil or shamed or retcon is the worst word in the world is the word retcon, where you retcon it. That's terrible.
Yeah,
it stays what it is, and I'm happy with that. And
Yeah.
you can go wherever you want with the new Planet of the Apes, because that's the new modern world. You know what I mean?
I absolutely love Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
It's one of the best, in my opinion, behind the original one. It's absolutely wonderful. Is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. It's a crowd pleaser, but I love it.
I think the best thing to do about Escape from the Planet of the Apes is look up all you can on the how that film got made, because I tell you what, it's a miracle it got made.
Yeah.
And then think about this: if they hadn't come up with the concept of Escape from the Planet of the Apes, you wouldn't have had a fourth film. You wouldn't have had a fifth film.
No,
you definitely wouldn't have the modern remakes, because going back in time and making it a loop is the only way that we've got 5 films that tie around each other. And that is the beauty of the Planet of the Apes bubble.
Yeah, wonderful.
You can encapsulate it all as a loop with those 5 films.
I love it because you see a snapshot of the 70s, and that is great. Absolutely love it for that. I love those things from the 70s. I love seeing them, and it's a great film. And we've had that one. Says get some warm chicken soup and good night's sleep. And I will do. I will definitely have a good sleep.
Isn't that lovely, Si saying that? I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody out there wants to turn around and give you a big hug and basically say, "Get well soon." You know, and then I just think to myself that if I was on my side of the chair, I'd say, "No, we hope you get worse. You get." That's what happened on my side. We want you to get better, Ian. That's it.
Yeah, well, I want to get better because I want to record my videos. I start getting restless, and I've got quite a few shorts I've got to do that people have asked me they want, and then my normal stuff. There is a film, but I won't give it away, that I really wanted to review, and it will come up hopefully in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful film. Anyhow, get some warm chicken. We've had that. Thank you. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you, everybody that's contributed, including Jim Jam James. Thank you for contributing. And of course, Delboy. He always makes us laugh, and you can't beat that. You need a good laugh nowadays, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Thank you for having me here. That's all I can say.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Everybody that's kept Ian company and kept me company the last or so weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, really, from the bottom of my heart. I can tell you that now. And some of you have sort of like been watching my stuff. It's really appreciated,
Ian, leave the videos till you feel better.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
hopefully.
And Ian, it's amazing to see your friends are concerned for you. Take care and get well. Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much. Your support is always wonderful. Thank you. And that's it. I think we should go now. And thank you, everybody that has tuned in. I know it may not have been as on top form, but hopefully you got some enjoyment for it. And we always dig up some things. That was another one. Michael, hopefully you'll feel better soon, Ian. Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yeah, I haven't seen much of your reviews recently. Hopefully you do some more Star Trek reviews and what have you. Maybe it's me. I have not seen any, but thank you, Michael. And that's it. So all I like to say is I'll see thee again.
Salute.